And I guess I just give it a number of radians. And I want to rotate it around. I actually don't know where I want to rotate it around. When I'm looking at it right now, this is the x-axis to the right, this is the y-axis going up, and I'm looking down. So if I want to rotate it so it's looking away from the square and then comes back, I want to rotate around the y-axis. So I'm going to multiply this by a rotation matrix in the y direction or whatever. And if I'm lucky, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Camera.rotation matrix y equals dt by the model matrix. Yeah, it looks like it's just not doing anything. Darn. I guess the translation matrix works though. Let's try the translation again. And that one works. Yeah, I guess it's only the rotation matrix. Why would it do that? I'll try multiplying. I'm pretty sure the rotation matrix works because I'm using it on the mesh. Let's try rotating around the x-axis. Hold on, that's like making me... The square needs to chill out, first of all. So now I can just see the square stationary. Now I'm gonna try to rotate the camera. Why would that happen? When I rotate the camera, the square is rotating instead of the camera. Is what's happening? What might be happening is the camera is rotating around the x-axis. But it's like also moving. Its position is moving as well, which I guess makes sense. But that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted it to rotate in place. And I don't know how to do that. Darn. So if I were to replace this by y, I guess it would go around that way. And if I replaced it by z, I guess I'd see the square turning in the 2D plane. Dang. So what I think is happening now is like... This is the positive z direction. This is where the camera is. It's looking at the square, which is in this plane. And this is the x-axis. And when I rotate, the y-axis is like going into the screen. And when I rotate around the y-axis, the camera's moving like this. Which isn't what I want. I want it to like rotate in place. I think the way to do this, I think what I might have to do is translate the camera to the origin, rotate the camera, then translate the camera back. Is there a better way to do it though? I think this pattern is actually used in Manim. Where's rotate about point? What is... What is get rotate about point? Now I don't know how to rotate about point. I think it was rolled into rotate. OpenGL object. Here's rotate. Does this have an about point? Here's rotate about origin. Rotation matrix transpose. Then it dots all the points for the rotation matrix transpose. That's fine. Okay. I don't know how to rotate about a point generally, I guess. Although you can have an angle and an axis. Yeah, why is there no way to do this about a point? Apply points function about point. I think this is where the concept is used. If you try to rotate, for example, it'll shift the points so that you move to the point, then it'll apply the function, then it moves them back. Okay. I guess that shouldn't be too difficult. So then in that case, I'll have to get the camera's location in 3D space, translate that to the origin, then rotate it, then translate it back. Okay, should be doable. I guess rotate in place is the one that does it in place by default. And otherwise, if you do def rotate, you can add an about point argument that goes to apply points function, I guess. Then you can pass this about point and this about point. I don't know what's done with this about point. Oh, it's doing the same thing in line here. It's subtracting the about point, so that's going to move it to the point, then applies the func, then adds the point. Okay, well if Grant didn't find a better way to do it, then I won't pretend like I can find one. But then the question is going to be, how can I always keep track of the position of the camera? I guess if I have its model matrix, I should be able to read off its position from that. I think get position. I think this is as simple as return np.array, and then just have to take the coordinates of the translation matrix that are updated when you translate. So when I translate, these are the entries that are updated. So do I just have to take all of the rows and column 3? And then only take the first 3 of them? Which I don't know how to do that. So I guess I can just do... Wait, there has to be a way to drop... Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I can go here, and I'm just going to print the camera's position. Or what I think it is from this function. Self.model matrix. I think I actually don't need this. Self.model matrix. I think I actually don't need this. Indexed at this. Okay, so let's see what that does. Okay, so that's correct. Then let me try see how to drop that last part of it. Wait, isn't it just like this? Great. Might be a faster way to do that, but I'm just going to do this for now. So this gives me, I think it should be a 1x0 array. Well, it didn't print anything. A 1x0 array carrying the camera's position, 3x0. Okay. So what I'll want to do, let me call this the camera translation, not the shape. And what I'll do is translate this according to the negative. Can I do this? Star, negative? There's no way this works. That would be terrible. Because the translation matrix function takes these three. But there's no way that's gonna work. Well, it didn't crash. So maybe I can translate it to the origin. Then I'll apply the rotation matrix, which I want to do around the y-axis. And then I'll translate it back. Okay. Great. It's working. So the y-axis is pointing straight up, and I'm on each frame, I'm moving the camera to the origin, rotating a little bit, moving it back to where it was. And so the effect is that now this camera is rotating in place. And it's rotating around the x-axis. I'm doing the y-axis. Wait, is this picture wrong? Straight up. Yeah, straight up should be the y-axis. This is the y-axis. The x-axis is like into the screen. And so that's why I'm seeing it. So now it's rotating in place. And that's why, yeah, okay. Cool. That is a lot of... Is there a better way to multiply matrices and NumPy? I feel like there has to be. For one thing, I'll definitely have to put this into a function or something. Like a rotate in place. Yeah, so if I def rotate in place matrix, X default is, and it's gonna have the same signature as this basically. And it's going to... Oh, it's going to need a current position as well. So initial position, which I can have... I guess it has to be none. No, let's say it has to have... I'll have to give the initial position. And then it can do numpy matrix multiplication of... About to be sick. Hello, what's up? Then I'll do this. About to be sick. Hello, what's up? Then I'll do this. I hope you aren't sick. So I'll do matrix multiply this times... This is gonna look really ugly, actually. Is this really the way you have to do it in NumPy? Then I'm gonna take the rotation matrix. Then I'm gonna multiply that like this. The rotating place. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. When I was playing with the rotations with the square and the camera, that did actually make me kind of nauseous. I don't think it's just from looking at it, but from looking at it and trying to visualize what it's doing at the same time. I do sort of get the feeling that I'm spinning all over the place. So here, I'll use camera.getPosition. I wonder if this should be getCenter. Are we doing quaternions? Yeah, I think I will end up doing quaternions. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but... Okay, so now I'm going to try y equals dt. And I have to multiply these. This matrix multiplication is not... It's really unwieldy. Okay, so it's going to do all three of those multiplications. And I messed something up. Operand 0 does not have enough dimensions. Has 0. Camera.getPosition. Oh, I have to return this. Great. So that's around the y-axis. This should do the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but... Wait, why did it stop? Did I quit it? Oh, there we go. Wait, it's only doing twice. I don't know if I care to figure it out. That uses named dimensions. Okay. That's working. How come with the X, it eventually just stopped working? Like, why only 2? Wonder if this does anything different? I think it's just super slow. Maybe if I do it faster. I doubt that'll help, though. Oh, yeah. It's not gonna be fun. I haven't gotten to quaternions yet. Can you make it interactive? I will be able to. You know what it might be? No, I actually don't know what it is. Darn. But the window can pick up mouse movements. Was this working when I was doing this manually? So if I do this and I rotate around the x-axis, does this have the same problem? This goes forever. Might be easy to move the camera. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, so my end goal is to do this basically. So 3JS has this way of moving where you can pan with the right click and rotate with the left click. And I was thinking about how I would have to update the right click and rotate with the left click. And I was thinking about how I would have to update the model matrix of the camera in order to achieve this effect. And I think it's fairly difficult. I think that'll involve quaternions, probably. Probably. Anyways. I don't know why this doesn't work if I do it. If I split it apart, it only goes part way. But another thing I noticed is if I use this function, was it rotating the other way? Whatever. I think I just won't try to figure it out right now. And so many matrix multiplications. I'm looking at rotation matrix. Thanks. Maybe you could help me. You have operations. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I have a lot of processes or functions that I wrote out to help with things that I do a lot. Maybe it is worth... I don't know, I just won't try doing this right now. When rotating around the x-axis, rotation stops. Eventually just stops. I keep seeing the same thing and just trying again, but whatever. Oh yeah, no problem. Operations in mobject.py. So, let me see. Well, I'm using OpenGL mobject, but this should have some rotation. Whoops. Sorry. This should have some rotate methods already. Oh, but these won't work. And the reason these won't work is because these operate by transforming the array of points. It will... I can use this rotation matrix, I think. Since this is getting me the rotation matrix transpose. Why transpose? Oh, I guess because it's he's multiplying on the right. Although I actually didn't know this rotation matrix transpose function existed. Oh, but this isn't good enough. This is only 2D rotation. Then it has... This is the one from a quaternion. Although I don't know the data type of the quaternion. And I think that would be useful. Angle axis. You gotta do quaternion from angle axis, then give it that function. Okay. So here's what I want to do now. I'm going to try to... I feel like I can copy pasta these camera mechanics. There are a lot of things that can be copy pasted pretty much verbatim. Or at least what I'm doing is fairly standardized. What I'm going to try to do now, since I did manage to get camera rotation working, which is great, and I can rotate objects. But the next thing, in order to be able to get camera controls like the ones that are here, is like get camera controls like the ones that are here, is like... So if you imagine what this camera is doing, you have the landscape here, and this is the X direction, this is the Y direction, this is the Z direction. And the camera is like looking, it's looking down at an angle. Why am I trying to color this out? It's looking down at an angle like this. And when you drag, when I drag with the right click, the camera is rotating around the Z-axis like this. Only I should draw that bit. It's like, it's a rotation in the plane of the Y and X axis. Now before, I thought that when I applied a rotation matrix to the eye, it would rotate it in place. But that's not true. If I apply a rotation matrix to the eye will move. So I think what I need... First of all, I should angle the camera like this. Then maybe I can just apply a rotation matrix around the Z-axis, and maybe it'll just look at the square. Maybe that's all I need to do. A Manim game engine. It would... After this 3D stuff starts working, it'll probably be pretty feasible. But the thing is, even... Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the camera. The default position of the camera, if you didn't know, is looking in the negative Z direction. So it defaults to here. I'm going to try applying... Oh my gosh. I need to get a tablet or something. I'm going to try applying a rotation matrix around the X axis. Hopefully that'll move it over here. So I'm just going to go here. To say self camera model matrix. Oh my gosh. I'm going to multiply this by the rotation matrix is that what it's called? In the OpenGL utilities. Rotation matrix, and then I'll say x equals like pi over 4. I kind of don't think this will still be looking at the square. Yeah, it's not. And why would that not be looking at the square anymore? I actually don't know why that's not looking at the square anymore. Could I have... Oh, I rotated it in place. Is that what happened? Oh yeah, because I didn't translate it or whatever. Can you use polar coordinates? I don't think so. Well, maybe. This is literally like the phi in polar coordinates, isn't it? So if I know I want to move this by like phi, the problem is that knowing the position, even knowing where it's looking. Okay, this is the problem I'm having. Polar coordinates, at least in my understanding, represent your location. For example, the location of this increasingly crazy looking camera has like phi being this angle off of the z-axis, I think, unless I'm misremembering this.